not to be confused with the pigeon bird. For the instant messaging client, see Pidgin. A pidgin, or pidgin language, is a simplified version of a language that develops as a means of communication between two or more groups that do not have a language in common. It is most commonly employed in situations such as trade, or where both groups speak languages different from the language of the country in which they reside. Fundamentally, a pidgin is a simplified means of linguistic communication, as it is constructed impromptu, or by convention, between individuals or groups of people. A pidgin is not the native language of any speech community, but is instead learned as a second language. A pidgin may be built from words, sounds, or body language from multiple other languages and cultures. Pidgins allow people or a group of people to communicate with each other without having any similarities in language. Pidgins usually have low prestige with respect to other languages. Not all simplified or broken forms of a language are pidgins. Each pidgin has its own norms of usage which must be learned for proficiency in the pidgin. Etymology: the origin of the word is uncertain. Pidgin first appeared in print in 1850. The most widely accepted etymology is from the Chinese pronunciation of the English word business. Another etymology that has been proposed is English pigeon, a bird sometimes used for carrying brief written messages, especially in times prior to modern telecommunications. Terminology: the word pigeon, formerly also spelled pigeon, used to refer originally to Chinese Pidgin English, but was later generalized to refer to any pigeon. Pigeon may also be used as the specific name for local pidgins or creoles, in places where they are spoken. For example, the name of the Creole language Tok Pisin derives from the English words talk pigeon. Its speakers usually refer to it simply as pigeon, when speaking English. Likewise, Hawaiian Creole English is commonly referred to by its speakers as pigeon. The term jargon has also been used to refer to pigeons, and is found in the names of some pigeons, such as Chinook jargon. In this context, linguists today use jargon to denote a particularly rudimentary type of pigeon. However, this usage is rather rare, and the term jargon most often refers to the words particular to a given profession. Pidgins may start out as or become trade languages, such as Tok Pisin. Trade languages are often full-blown languages in their own right, such as Swahili. Trade languages tend to be vehicular languages, while pidgins can evolve into the vernacular. Common traits among pidgin languages: since a pidgin language is a fundamentally simpler form of communication, the grammar and phonology are usually as simple as possible, and usually consist of uncomplicated clausal structure, reduction or elimination of syllable coders, reduction of consonant clusters or breaking them with epenthesis, basic vowels, such as a, e, I, o, u, no tones, such as those found in West African and Asian languages, use of separate words to indicate tense, usually preceding the verb, use of reduplication to represent plurals, superlatives, and other parts of speech that represent the concept being increased, a lack of morphophonemic variation. Pidgin development: the initial development of a pidgin usually requires prolonged, regular contact between the different language communities, a need to communicate between them, an absence of a widespread, accessible interlanguage. Keith Winham suggests that pidgins need 3 languages to form, with one being clearly dominant over the others. Linguists sometimes posit that pidgins can become Creole languages when a generation of children learn a pidgin as their first language, a process that regularizes speaker-dependent variation in grammar. Creoles can then replace the existing mix of languages to become the native language of a community. However, not all pidgins become Creole languages. A pidgin may die out before this phase would occur. Other scholars, such as Salcoco Muffin, argue that pidgins and creoles arise independently under different circumstances, and that a pidgin need not always precede a creole nor a creole evolve from a pidgin. Pidgins, according to Muffin, emerged among trade colonies among users who preserved their native vernaculars for their day-to-day interactions. Creoles, meanwhile, developed in settlement colonies in which speakers of a European language, often indentured servants whose language would be far from the standard in the first place, interacted extensively with non-European slaves, absorbing certain words and features from the slaves' non-European native languages, resulting in a heavily basilectoralized version of the original language. These servants and slaves would come to use the Creole as an everyday vernacular, rather than merely in situations in which contact with the speaker of the superstrate was necessary. See also. Notes. References: Bakker, Peter, Pidgins, in Jacques Arènes. Peter Muskin. Novel Smithh, Pigeons and Creoles, An Introduction, John Benjamins, pp. 26–39. Himes, Del, Pidginization and Creolization of Languages, Cambridge University Press, ISBN A0-521-07833-4. McHutter, John, The Power of Babel, The Natural History of Language, Random House Group, ISBN A0-06-052085. Zhang, Seba, Mark, Contact Languages, Pigeons and Creoles, Macmillan, ISBN A0-333-63024-6. Thomason, Sarah G. Kaufman, Terence, Language Contact, Creolization, and Genetic Linguistics, Berkeley, University of California Press, ISBN A0-520-07893-4. Todd, Laura 2, Pigeons and Creoles, Routledge, ISBN A0-415-05311-0. Further reading, Home, John, An Introduction to Pigeons and Creoles, Cambridge University Press. External links, Language Varieties website.